Welcome to Nickanory, episode 7, I believe. What do you reckon, Biggie? Is it episode 7? You just whipped me with your tail. That hurt. Now get back. No. Get back in. Okay, well, I thought we would do all about helping the MOD with their training. And they asked me if I would take 7 vehicles and 10 blokes down to, I think it was, well, we stayed at Tidworth Camp, and we were on this kind of training area, like a village they've got down there. It's where Top Gear use occasionally, and it's basically a village that's a mixture between Germany and kind of Albania, and it's big kind of square buildings, and they've got a graveyard, and they've got a church, and they've got cafes, and they've got shops and cinemas, and nothing's real. Nothing is real at all. And then all the houses are huge, and they've got bits they can like pretend to blow holes through, and it's a huge place, And anyway, we got this phone call, and they wanted all this sort of Eastern Bloc vehicles. Oh, you're on the twins. Eastern Bloc vehicles, and I have got a T55 at the time. That was rather nice, and Todd used to enjoy driving that, so he was like. And then we had a BTR 60, which was a bit rough driving wise, but looked pretty. And they said, well, we only want that one for sort of static. And then we had there was a great big Ural truck and an MTLB. That's your tracked troop. And various other vehicles, I can hardly remember them. No, not there. Can't even move it. Anyway, it was all exciting stuff. And then they said, have you got a technical? And I said, what's a technical? And they said, well, like they have out in Mogadishu, like a pickup with a machine gun in the back. And I had just bought 3 motors off of this farmer for about £300. And one of them was a terrible Clio that sheep had been living in. You could have that removed, you know. And basically that was just, we ran that over. And then there was quite a nice black pickup truck, which I sold, and it made big money. I did have to spray the tailgate. And then the last truck was this, I think it was a Hilux, and it was really rough. It had no starter motor on it, and the tyres were bald, and we didn't even know if it ran. I mean, it did come up to be run over, and we reckon that stood us at about 40 quid. Because the other one made about 3 grand when we sold it. I did do a beautiful paint job. Anyway, I put a starter motor on it. Well, first of all, we just shoved it with a 432 in gear with a battery on it, and it fired up on the jump. And it sat there, quite merrily running, rough as hell, but running. And then I tried it driving around a little bit, and I tried it in low range and high range and all that kind of stuff. And it was pretty sound. So we went mad, and I bought a new starter motor, which cost me about 160 quid, considering the car stood me at 30. And then we bought a set of wheels and tyres off this dodgy fella. And anyway, it was a reasonable driving pile of shit. And then I went round it with a pickaxe, making holes all over it, so it looked like it had been shot up, and then we painted it green. But I didn't do holes above my head in case it rained, because no one wants to sit with rain dropping on their head. Do you? You don't either, do you? Anyway, we got the machine gun in the back, big 50 cal, and we had a little practice. My God, that was loud. It's one of these gas ones, and you can have lots of flame or lots of noise, and you can kind of adjust it.
You have to turn it on then, because I've turned it off. Okay, yeah.
You're probably wondering what I'm doing. Rambo's got one like that, only it's smaller. And we got the lorries started arriving, and we were loading them all up and shipping them down there. And then I had to get 10 members of staff. You have no idea how uncomfortable that is, Biggie. You are a big lump. 10 members of staff who could spare 10 days in a row. And we started scraping the bottom of the barrel, and I was ringing everyone. And someone said, what about Magic? What about Magic? He doesn't do anything any time. Surely 10 days, £150 a day, all expenses paid, food and everything, and accommodation, like a all you got to do is sit in the turret of a T-55 and kind of look terrible.
He loves playing with that.
And just be driven around in it. And I thought he'd like that. Anyway, he was well up for it. But sadly, after about, well, it was 2 days.
Todd just eats anything because of Vanessa's cooking. Magic, well, I need say no more. He has never had it so good. 9 slices of white bread that bloke ate before he even started. Yeah, and he had an egg in the shell. I don't really know what's going on there.
And then somehow he disappeared, and then the next thing, he's on the base with his car. Don't know how he got his car down there. He had no passes, no nothing, but there it was, on the base. And he was wandering around a lot with one of these kind of energy drinks, which we found out later was full of vodka. And I did bet him that he couldn't walk all the way around the MOD base with his dark glasses, looking terroristy, just carrying a teddy bear. And not be challenged. And you know what? He did it, and he wasn't challenged. Are you going to sit down? Sit. And yeah, it was all going quite well. And the food. The breakfast was very samey, kind of scrambled eggs, bacons, cheapo sausage. Lunch was awful, abysmal. It was like bottle of water, 2 biscuits and an apple, and a sandwich you wouldn't give to your dog. I wouldn't give it to you, would I, Biggie? You wouldn't give it back. You'd yak it back. And but even in meal, wow, there was loads and loads of food. It was about, I don't know, 40 yards long of different types of food, and just went along and helped yourself. Apart from the Gurkhas, they had to be served, otherwise they stole all the rice. They literally piled their plates up, massive. And there was one bit, oh, watch out, and it was roast beef. And being an ex-butcher, I know that was a whole sirloin roasted. And not many people roast a sirloin as a roasting joke. It should be normally as a steak. I mean, it was just wild. Jill came along to keep us all entertained, and I remember they started the thing off with there was 2 scenarios a day, and it started off with tornadoes came screaming in, and they napalmed the place, massive fireballs. And then after that, it was the Apaches came in, giving cover. Troop carriers and the Crafts came in, and they sort of filled the challengers coming running over.
Usually a battle-winning asset in the urban environment by breaching obstacles and providing hasty defensive positions. With the route now open, the Trojan quickly moves off the route to ensure that reinforcements can be rapidly deployed.
All my stuff actually like run away twice a day, and it was very reliable. We were surprised. We had a lot of fun, especially with Todd. My favourite moments with Todd was when he walked into the army naffy, and he's a pretty good pool player. Obviously not as good as me, but pretty bloody good. But he does take a few risks. You're going to knock my camera over, big boy. Come here, get up here, come on. And anyway, he walks in the naffy and he goes, "Who's the best goddamn player in the whole place?" And now, do you really think that's called for? No. He hasn't got any goodies. Anyway, he walks in there, "Who's the best goddamn player in the whole place?" And this bloke stands up with one arm. Yeah, one arm. He says, "Oh, player," and he beat him. It was magic. You couldn't ask for more. Another time he made me smile was there was about 300 of us just about to take a briefing off one of the officers, and Todd did tend to like to hobnob with the officers a bit, and and he came in and he tells me about, with all the people, he like telling me where he's been and what he's done, and I said, have you seen General Waste? He goes, no, where's General Waste? Where's General Waste? I said, over there. There was a big green bin, and on the side of it, it said General Waste. And everybody died with laughter. That was fun. The tanks went really, really well. Once we did have one little mishap, and the T-55, a bleed screw on the injector pump. I don't like that. I don't want to be sniffing your bum. Bleed screw on the injector pump fell out, and it just blew diesel everywhere. And we had that done. We had turret round, a similar nut and bolt, whopped in there, you know. And we had that back online in about 20 minutes. And this officer come over and he said, I wish my guys could do something like that. And I thought, well, you know, we're being paid, mate, and we won't get paid if we don't do a good job. Oi, come here. Now, nicely, sit, straight, good boy. See, he's well behaved, really. And I remember that we were having a rare old time, and we go back to the barracks, which were horrendous. I mean, 1940s carpet about this thick, rug in the middle, little rug, and the springs were just, the beds were just like metal 1940s, 1950s beds with springing across them. That's a little thin mattress like this, and you had to take your own sleeping bag, and there was a chest of drawers that was like 60, 70 years old, made out of like veneered oak. Really, really
It's basic, but everything you need. Unfortunately, there's a couple of old winos sleeping in my room. Another old tramp here with a dodgy jacket. Canadian just burst in. I'm lucky 7. So there we go. Everything you need.
How did I get stuck with Magic?
Very, very nice, because Magic's always fancied you. And he gave me £10 to manoeuvre you into position where he could spend the night with you. Yeah, he'll probably give you some special water that will taste a bit like vodka later.
No, thank you.
Do you know what chloroform smells like?
I can't.
You will.
Yeah.
But they had spent some money on the shower area, and you could see that just the showers were modern, and when you come out of the showers there's these big pipes coming down, and some had a red tap and some had a blue tap for emergencies, I suppose, so at least we could have a hot shower. And then all of a sudden the heating went off. There's 600 people on this camp, you know, heating gone, no heating, no hot water, and it was October time. It was grim, and I remember we come in from one exercise. Are you still feeling a bit? No. And as we come in, 2 officers are in our billet, and Todd goes, I won't say who, he says, Major, will we have hot water tonight? And he goes, one major shouts to the other major, he goes, Major, turn the hot water on for Todd and the heating, he's looking a bit chilly. And they just walked in, he's got slammed the door behind him, and Todd, hey, we're all getting hot water and heating tonight. Yeah, no. It was quite funny. Oi, get out. And what I loved was, even after we got the hot water on and the heating, every time Todd went into the shower area, we would run out the other side and turn the red tap off, so we had no hot water. And we were all having hot showers, and he honestly thought that the hot water hadn't come on yet for another 5 days. It was just a whiz. It was great fun. What else was fun? We did manage to get the Hilux thing.
Now, a lot of people would think this was John's fault, but it's not John's fault, it's Robert's fault for selling me tyres that weren't fit for duty.
And I thought that was pretty good, because it was out at £700 a day, and it had to do 2 sessions with 2 people in it, the technical, and it had to perform for 11 seconds twice a day. Now that doesn't sound a lot, but you know. So he had to come around the corner with my sister driving, and Big John was on the machine gun. He'd go bob, 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 and then this warrior would come round and they just wheel spin out in a reverse.
And I've buggered it up every single day, and now his moment of glory, his last and only chance to fight the British Army. So, are you ready, John? I'll just...
And on the last day, John goes, did you film me? Did you manage to? And I say, John, every time, twice a day, when I try and film your little bit, something's happening and I can't do it. But I do my best today. It's the last day, and I'll try and get you on that machine gun. And he goes, oh, it'd be great if you could, Nick. I said, I tell you what, don't tell anyone, but do 13 seconds, not 11. And he went, could I? I said, yeah, 13 seconds. And you know what, I did get a bit of that, and it was pretty cool. What else was wonderful? Oh, that's it. When we first arrived, I had to park all my vehicles just outside of the military village. And there was some Challengers and all that, all put along there, Warriors and that. Come here. Oh. And I said, will my vehicles be all right here? And the officer went, yes, definitely. We'll have someone on stag. Now, I don't know exactly what stag means, but all I know is in the morning when we come back, my load of vehicles hadn't been touched because they're all a bit unusual and Russian, but all the Challengers and everything else, they had the lights missing, they had the cables off the side, the axes, all the Pioneer, everything stolen, everything. And I said to this guy, I thought you were going to have someone on stag. He said, well, we did. But when we were over this side of the village, what would be going on? It'd be like the other side of the village. I said, have you considered 2 people or 3 people on stag? Or maybe 50 or 100 as a kind of an exercise, a training exercise. I think there were 600 people on that base. And it was only about 3 miles away. So they could have done better there. They could have done better. I did enjoy it, and I'd love to go back to it again. And I started buying as many Eastern Bloc vehicles, so we had this wonderful selection. You're in a funny old mood tonight, mate. Oh, I'm gonna have to get his claws trimmed. What else was good? Oh, now, behave. Good boy. So I bought all these extra vehicles, and I started painting them green and orange, so that everyone knew exactly who was the enemy and who wasn't. And what we found was that every day we did of the 10 days, the people watching were more and more important. And early on it was like soldiers' wives and stuff like that. And then the second day it would be designers and people, suppliers to the MOD. And by the end day there was all these blokes from sandy places in funny looking camouflage that had to like pray into Allah and all this. And yeah, it was quite high. And we had a few politicians and all sorts. And we did get slicker and slicker, but it was set, it was choreographed exactly the same twice a day. And they had these great big speakers. And one bit I thought was pretty cool was they had the war dogs. Or you're listening, Biggie, war dogs, not like you. And what happened was, at lunchtimes, if you're a big lad and you fancied a bit of fun, you could put one of these bite suits on and you could try and run away. And they have these like very skinny Malamute things, look like Alsatians but skinnier. And these things would run at you at 25 miles an hour, and then they would jump and they would grab you by the shoulder. And even though they only weighed like a third as much as some of these big soldiers, they would just, the whole weight of the dog would just spin around and they'd go flying. And I was desperate to have a go, but I just couldn't seem to, it just didn't mesh in with how with my workload. And what was great was at the end of the day, when it was getting dark, these little JCB loadals, and now I've got loads of them, but I really wanted one, and I didn't think you could get them. Now I've got like 20. And they would whiz around with these pods with all the jerry cans on, and we would literally just throw the machine guns that we got inside our vehicles, and then guff them full of diesel as fast as we could, then get up the naffy as quick as we could before the queue formed. And as we were leaving, we'd see all these lighting towers with packs coming out of vehicles, and Christ, it was a bit worrying. I don't think we saw the same Challenger more than one day in a row. And some of them have different colour wings and a bit of damage here, and you could identify them. And Todd got a go in a Challenger 2, that was quite cool. I could have got a go, but I was a bit busy at that moment, and business is business, you don't want to let no one down. What else was exciting?
This is our new toy. They've given us this for doing the trial, which I thought was really nice of them. Providing we do them a special deal when they hire it. This one's called Dippy. I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, it's ours. It's been gifted to us. And then that one over there, that one's for Todd. We're having one each. So we can race around the farm together. I can't believe they've given us a couple. Bloody nice, isn't it? But as they cut down these regiments, they've got too many of them. And it needs a wash anyway.
One of the things I thought was pretty good is they would lead civilians, or these people who are watching, through a series of these buildings upstairs, when all the soldiers would all be firing rapid fire, blah, 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 with SA-80s and LS-Whatsits and that, blazing away. And in the middle of the battle, they'd run you through. And what they'd got is loads and loads of civilians, and they had lots of kind of short, fat Albanian women with scarves on and 2 bags of shopping. And they were sort of herding the civilians and trying to keep them safe. So that was a kind of a clever bit of the exercise. And then as you'd run along these buildings really fast with the other people, there'd be someone on the floor, and he'd be like a one-legged person, and they'd got him on the floor with blood everywhere. and he'd be screaming and thrashing around, and you'd have 3 or 4 medics trying to like hold him down and treat him, while you had to go through a big hole in one wall going into another building and then another, and that was realism was quite.
How long needs to go to the next building? Let's go!
And one slightly embarrassing moment was one of the majors said, Nick, if there's anything on these blown up and scrapped CVRTs and vehicles about that would be useful to you and you got time, I mean, feel free to just take them off, you know, don't worry about it. And I thought, wow, I said, well, I don't really need anything, but, you know, some things are useful. And then a couple of days later, this bloke comes over, what are you doing? And I said, I'm just taking this off. They're my vehicles, you're not allowed to do that. And I said, well, Major so-and-so said I could. He goes, and you know what? He went over, had a shout at this Major, and he denied it. And that guy literally threw me under the bus, and I was shocked. He just said, no, I haven't given permission. And I thought, unbelievable. And it was only that made me think, maybe I won't do it again. I didn't appreciate that. But you know what? I've kind of forgotten that bit. And I've got a nice set of Eastern Bloc vehicles. And we're in Communicado with 1 or 2 officers. I had a French guy and he wanted to buy all my Eastern Bloc stuff and offered me massive money. And I thought, before I let it all go, I'll talk to 1 or 2 branches of the MOD and see if there's anything looming. And apparently there is. So I've decided I'm going to keep it all. I've got a T44 and a T55, and I think I would have kept them 2 anyway, because they're a nice vehicle. We've got a T34, but that's a little way from being a runner yet. And I've got a couple of T69s. One of them's a runner, but the other one is that's just literally been sitting since Gulf War, and that'll need our expertise when we've got more time. Oi, Biggie, how much time have you got? Loads of time, but he's crap on the spanners. Anything else we should think about? No, the Apaches, they let me have a sitting one. Ah, it's beautiful. And only the front glass is armoured. The rest of it is non-armoured, and they teach you how to self-medicate. So if you get a couple of bullets in you, you've got a little, you sew them up and this kind of thing, take your aspirin. But yeah, I thought they'd have more armoured glass, but apparently it's important to keep the weight down. Hard to believe, isn't it? Okay, well with that, that's the end of it. Biggie, did you find that interesting? MOD work. Now, if anyone would like a particular story, anything interesting, and steady, Biggie, steady. He learned that off me. Then I can do a particular story that you would find by popular request. Entirely up to you. Nickanory, over and out, episode 7.